You couldn't take pets onto most beaches in South Florida, but one small beach was different. Everybody called it Dog Beach. On Dog Beach, dogs could run freely. They didn't have to be on a leash. One morning in June, I took Marley to Dog Beach. There were lots of people with dogs, but the dogs were on leashes. "What happened?" I asked a man. "The police came," the man said. "We have to use a leash." So I walked Marley on his leash, but I felt sorry for him. After our walk, I gave Marley a bowl of water. Then a man arrived with a big black dog. It looked dangerous. "Don't be afraid of him," said the man. "This is Killer, but he's very friendly. He doesn't fight other dogs." I told the man about the police. "That's stupid," he shouted. "This is Dog Beach." He took off Killer's leash, and Killer ran into the water. Marley looked at Killer, and then he looked at me. I could read his thoughts. "Please, please, please, I'll be good." I looked around the beach. I couldn't see any policemen. I took off Marley's leash, and he ran into the ocean after Killer. Marley and Killer played happily in the water. Other people watched them. Then they took off their dogs' leashes too. The dogs ran into the water. But then Marley started to drink from the ocean. "Stop that, Marley!" I cried. "You'll be sick!" But Marley didn't listen to me, and he didn't stop drinking. Then he started to turn around in the water. "Oh no," I thought. I ran into the water. But it was too late. Marley pooped everywhere. "Hey!" somebody shouted angrily. "Get your dog!" "Marley, no!" I shouted. I could feel everybody's eyes on me and on Marley. "No, Marley, no! 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 No!" Marley's poop was everywhere. The other people grabbed their dogs. Marley came out of the dirty water and looked at me happily. But we had to leave. "That wasn't nice," the man with Killer said. "Sorry," I said. I put Marley's leash on him. Other dogs didn't drink water from the ocean. Marley wasn't a bad dog, but sometimes he did stupid things. "What's wrong with you, Marley?" I said on the drive home. "Sometimes you're the worst dog in the world." I never took Marley to the beach again. Chapter 8. We Move North. When Colleen was 2 years old, I got a job with a magazine in Pennsylvania, in the northeast of the United States. We were ready for a change from Florida. There were too many people and cars. The weather was always hot, with a lot of thunderstorms. We wanted to live in a quiet place in the country. We wanted to see summer, winter, spring, and fall. Most of all, we wanted to see snow. Our new home was very beautiful. There was a small river near our house, and there were woods all around it. Marley was very happy. He loved playing in the woods and running after small animals. 3 weeks after New Year, it snowed. The children were very excited because it was their first time. We put on warm jackets and ran outside. Marley followed us. Marley was very funny in the snow. He fell down all the time. Snow lay on his fur and his face. I could only see a black nose and 2 brown eyes. I could read his thoughts. "I don't understand. What's this? It feels so cold and wet." But then Marley jumped up again. He ran around the yard and jumped through the snow. The children laughed happily, and Marley was happy too. We had a great time. It was almost the end of our first winter in Pennsylvania. We were very happy in our new house. But Marley was 9 years old now. He moved more slowly, and he slept for most of the day. Sometimes, when I took him for a walk, he got very tired. His fur in many places was gray, not yellow. Life with Marley wasn't easy. He cost us a lot of money. He ate a lot of food, and he broke a lot of our things. We could never change him. We knew that. But he was one of our family. He loved us, and we loved him. That spring, I said to Jenny, "Let's get some farm animals." "Okay," she said, "but we don't have a place for big animals. Let's get some chickens. Then we can have eggs every day." Jenny talked to one of the moms at the children's school. Donna lived on a farm. She gave Jenny 4 baby chickens. The chickens lived in a box in the kitchen. They ate and pooped. Then they ate some more, and they got bigger. One morning, I woke up early when I heard a call from downstairs. "Cock-a-doodle-doo!" I woke Jenny up and asked, "What's that noise?" "Oh," she said, "I don't know." She turned over and slept. Every morning, the chickens made a lot of noise. Sometimes they made loud noises very near Marley. Marley was usually afraid of loud noises, but he didn't move away from the chickens. That's strange, I thought. Can't Marley hear the chickens? One afternoon, when Marley was asleep in the kitchen, I walked up behind him. "Marley," I said, but Marley didn't move. "Marley," I said again. Nothing. "Marley!" I shouted. Marley turned. He stood up and wagged his tail. "Oh no," I thought. Marley can't hear. But Marley could hear some things. When we put food in his bowl, he always heard the sound of his dinner. He ran in from the next room. Marley was always hungry. He ate 4 big bowls of dog food every day, and he also ate our food. Labradors are big dogs, and Marley was a very large Labrador, but he never got fat. One day, I came home from work early, and I went into the kitchen. Marley was there. He didn't see me, and he didn't hear me. There was a sandwich on the kitchen table. Marley stood up and put his paws on the table. Then he ate the sandwich. "What are you doing, Marley?" I asked. "You are a bad dog." But he didn't hear me. He ate the sandwich happily. I put my hand on Marley's fur, and he jumped. When he saw me, he lay down on the floor. He looked up at me, and I started to laugh. I couldn't be angry with Marley. He was old now, and he couldn't hear. I couldn't change him. The chickens weren't afraid of Marley, and he never tried to catch them. They walked around the yard, and Marley went with them. Chapter 9. Marley Gets Older. Jenny and I had a good life. Our children were young. We felt young too. But when we looked at Marley, we saw many changes. The years went past, and he was 12 years old. By this time, he couldn't hear anything. His fur was gray, his teeth were brown. Late one night, I took Marley outside for his walk before bed. It was winter, and there was a cold rain. I went back into the house for my jacket. When I came out again, Marley wasn't there. I looked for him everywhere, but I couldn't find him. I went back inside. Then I walked upstairs and woke up Jenny. "I can't find Marley," I said. "He's out there in the rain." Jenny pulled on her jeans and shoes, and we went outside again. I walked slowly through the woods and called for Marley. Jenny went a different way. We were very wet and cold. "Let's go home and get warm," I said. "I'll get the car and come out again." We walked back to our house. Suddenly, we saw Marley. He stood outside the house, out of the rain. When he saw us, he was very happy. I felt angry with him, but then I was happy too. I brought him inside and dried him. Marley was very tired. He went to sleep and woke up at noon the next day. Marley couldn't see well now. His fur started to fall out too. Jenny cleaned the house every day, but his hairs were everywhere. But Marley's biggest problem was his hips. They hurt him a lot, and he couldn't move quickly. He couldn't climb the stairs easily, but he tried to follow us everywhere. Marley had good days and bad days. One spring evening, I took him for a short walk around the yard. The night was cold, and there was a light wind. I ran, and Marley ran with me. "Marley," I said, "you're a puppy again." We ran back to the house. There were 2 small stairs in front of the door. When Marley tried to climb the stairs, he fell down. He lay on the stairs and looked sadly up at me. Marley was too heavy for me. I couldn't carry him, so I had to push him up the stairs. Then he stood up and went into the house. When I looked at Marley, I thought, we only have one life, and it can change very quickly. I enjoyed my job on the magazine, but I really wanted to work for a newspaper again. Newspapers were more exciting, and I liked writing about big stories. I also liked getting letters and calls from readers. A friend told me about a job on the Philadelphia Inquirer. This was one of the best newspapers in the United States. I wrote to the newspaper, and I got the job. I was very happy. In the summer, Jenny visited her sister in Boston. She took the children with her. I didn't go because I was busy with my new job. Every day, I was away from home for 10 or 12 hours, so we took Marley to a vacation home for dogs. Some days later, an animal doctor called me from the home. "I'm sorry," she said, "but Marley's very sick. When he saw the other dogs, he got very excited. He ate his food too quickly. Then he had a bad problem with his stomach, and he almost died. He's a little better now, but it will happen again." "Oh," I said. "What are you saying?" "Do you want us to help end Marley's life?" she said. "I'm sorry." "Oh," I said. I couldn't think. "I have to talk to my wife." I called Jenny in Boston, and we had a long conversation about Marley. In the end, Jenny said, "The doctor's right. We have to do the best thing for Marley." I called the doctor back. "Yes, Marley's a very old dog," I said. "Life isn't so good for him now. He doesn't have many teeth, and he can't hear. His hips hurt him too." "Yes," she said. "Maybe we have to put him to sleep, but I'll call you again in an hour." When the doctor called again, she said, "Marley's a very sick dog, but he isn't getting worse." The next morning, she called again. "We can wait," she said. "Marley's eating. You can take him home tomorrow." I was very happy. The next evening after work, I went to the dog's home. Marley was very thin and weak. I thanked the doctor. "Everybody here loves Marley," she said. One of the workers helped me put Marley into the car. Then I drove him home. He couldn't climb the stairs to the bedroom, and I didn't want to leave him. So that night, I put a sleeping bag on the floor and lay down next to him. "Tomorrow, Jenny and the children are coming back," I said. "But tonight, Marley, it's only you and me." I thought about my first night with Marley, when he was a small puppy. That night, he cried for his mother, and then he slept in a box next to my bed. Now, 13 years later, here we were again. I put out my hand and petted him. In the next weeks, Marley got a little better. A lot of the time, he lay on the floor in the family room, asleep in the sun. But one morning when I was in the bedroom, I heard a noise. Then Connor shouted, "Help! Marley fell down the stairs!" Marley lay at the bottom of the stairs. Jenny and I ran to him, but then he got up and walked away. Marley had a bad fall, I told the children, but he's okay. But Marley was hurt. When I got home from work that evening, he couldn't move. When he saw me, he tried to get up, but he fell down again on the floor. "I don't think Marley can go upstairs again," I said. But I was wrong. The next day, I was upstairs at my computer in my bedroom when I heard a sound. I turned around. Marley stood at the bedroom door. "Marley," I said, "what are you doing here?" I went to him and petted him. Then I looked into his eyes. "Marley," I said, "you're going to tell me when it's time, right?" Chapter 10. A Great Dog. Winter arrived early that year. The children waited for the snow. Can Marley live through another winter? I thought. Jenny and I took the children to Disney World in Florida. It was their first Christmas away from home, and they were very excited. Jenny took Marley to the animal doctor's office. They gave him a home there and watched him carefully. We had a great family vacation, but on the way home, somebody called us from the doctor's office. "Marley's very tired," she said, "and his hips are really hurting him." The next day, Jenny went for Marley. He got out of the car, but he couldn't walk into the house. He lay on the ground outside. Jenny called me at work. "I can't get Marley inside," she said. "He can't get up." I left my office and went home. When I arrived, Marley was inside the house, but he was very sick. He lay on the floor. For the first time in 13 years, he didn't get up when he saw me. His eyes followed me, but he didn't move his head. I looked at his stomach. It was very big. I called the animal doctors. "Bring Marley here now," a young woman doctor said. I looked at Jenny and she looked at me. "Marley has to go to the hospital," we told the children. "The doctors are going to try to make him better, but he's very sick." With Jenny's help, I put Marley into the back of the car. He lay on the floor. I petted his head. "Oh, Marley," I said again and again. At the hospital, I helped him out of the car and took him inside. The young doctor took him away. Then she came back and showed me some pictures of the inside of Marley's stomach. "I'm very sorry," she said quietly. "We can't do anything for Marley now." "I understand," I said. "Please, can I say goodbye to him?" "Yes, of course," she said. "Have as much time with him as you want." Marley was asleep. I got down next to him and ran my fingers through his fur. I held up each ear in my hands. I opened his mouth and looked at his teeth. Then I held up his front paw. "I want you to understand something, Marley," I said. "Sometimes we called you the world's worst dog. But you're not. We never told you this before. But you're a great dog, Marley. A great dog." I sat with Marley for a long time. Then I called the doctor. "I'm ready now," I said. I held Marley's head, and the doctor gave Marley something. It didn't hurt him. He died quietly. "I want to take Marley home," I said. 2 people brought a large black bag out to my car. Then I thanked the doctor and drove away. When I got home, the children were in bed. I put my arms around Jenny and we cried for a long time. Later, we went outside. We took the black bag out of the car and put it into the garage. Next morning, Jenny told the children about Marley. They were very sad and started to cry. "It's okay," I said. "When you have a dog, this always happens. Dogs don't live as long as people." Connor made a picture and wrote a letter for Marley. "To Marley, I loved you all my life. You were always there when I wanted you. Your brother, Connor Richard Grogan." Colleen made a picture of a girl with a big yellow dog. She wrote under the picture, "I will never forget you, Marley." I found a very good place for Marley, in the ground under 2 big fruit trees. I put the black bag in the ground, and Jenny and the children watched. After I finished, everybody said, "We love you, Marley." Then we went back to the kitchen and told stories about Marley. Sometimes we laughed, and sometimes we cried. The next days were very difficult. The house was very quiet. When I came home at night, there was no Marley. Jenny cleaned the house, but his fur was everywhere. One morning, when I put on my shoes, I found some of Marley's fur inside them. Marley was my dog for 13 years. He wasn't an obedient dog, but he was important in my life. I wanted to tell other people about him, so I wrote about him in my newspaper. Nobody called Marley a great dog or a good dog. He was wild and crazy. He had to leave obedience school. He chewed things, and he wasn't very intelligent. But he understood people's feelings, and he was very good with children. A person can learn a lot from a dog. Because of him, I listened to my feelings. Because of him, I enjoyed winter sunlight and the snow and a walk in the woods. Because of him, I can be a good friend. A dog can show us the important things in life. A dog isn't interested in fast cars or big houses or expensive clothes. Give a dog your love, and he will give you his. Many people read about Marley in the newspaper. Animal lovers called me and wrote to me. They wrote to me about their love for dogs. They wrote about their feelings when their dogs died. Many people wrote funny stories about their dogs. Some people wrote, "Marley wasn't the worst dog in the world. My dog's the worst dog in the world." I began to feel better. I took the letters home and showed them to Jenny. She laughed too. Winter came to an end, and it was spring. Our yard was full of flowers. I didn't think about Marley all the time. When I thought about him, I usually remembered the happy days. In many ways, life without a dog was easier. The house and the yard were clean. We could enjoy going out to dinner. But something about our family wasn't right. One morning, Jenny showed me the newspaper. "Look at this," she said. It was an ad for a dog. I saw a photo of a big yellow Labrador. I looked at the photo, then I looked again. "That's Marley," I said. "It isn't Marley," said Jenny. "Look." Under the photo was the dog's name, Lucky. I read, "I'm looking for a new home and a new family. I want a quiet home because I'm a little wild." We read the ad and looked at the photo again. We didn't say anything for some time. Then I said, "We can go and look at him." "Yes," said Jenny.